Kate Daly Show is about to start. Progressive liberals must be accompanied by an adult. The show starts now.
Brought Microsoft computers crashing across planet Earth, triggering blue screens of death, even in Times Square. The software company says this was not a cyber attack, but due to employee negligence. We caught up with the man thought to be responsible for the outage.
So the problem we're facing now is the lack of wire. But the problem is the wire. So you see this wire now. It's not long enough. So this was the only wire that I had in my car.
Oh, I love that clip. Welcome, Kate Daly Show. Hi, Uncle Milty.
Hello.
Oh, you sound depressed.
I'm not depressed. Actually, I'm kind of excited.
Really? Is this your excited look? Okay.
Well, you know,
all right.
An article today convinced me that overall I'm in pretty good shape.
Oh, okay.
Because of the fact that I have HIV, I will not be subject to the Chinese-style organ harvesting system that's coming. Because my organs can't be harvested and used.
Right.
So I'm safe from organ harvesting.
So they won't be, you know, heaven forbid, if something happened to you, they wouldn't be rushing in to try to get you to take your organs while you're alive.
No, or they wouldn't treat me like a Falgung Wu.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's always an upside. Perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it.
Well, I can't imagine the level of excitement. Speaking of China, you know, after the show yesterday, we were talking about population. We were talking about millionaires and population in China.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody caught the population show we did, but it's interesting. You really ought to take a look at it because they had to lie about our population. They still are. Because they had to be able to implement all of these things like eugenics. They couldn't implement these responses like abortion, eugenics, all of these things without lying about the population starting in 1895. And it was the Rockefellers that did that. So we were talking about this. We were talking about how the population is just kind of amazing that people keep the lie up. And every time Bill Gates speaks, he can't help himself. He's like, we're almost at 9 billion. No, we're not. And he keeps saying it over and over. And so anyway, but you were talking about millionaires.
Yeah, no, based on the data that's been released, China, which has a little over 1 billion more people than the United States.
That's what they say. Yes.
Only has 6 million millionaires. And the United States, with a population of 335 million people, has 29 million millionaires.
Yeah.
So apparently capitalism is working.
Yes. You think? Yeah.
Well, what they don't tell you in the article
6 million millionaires, 29 million millionaires. Yeah.
But those statistics work through every economic class. We don't have as many poor. Our middle class is larger. Our upper middle class is larger, and our wealthy is larger.
Yeah.
And our poor is lower. And so they leave that part out, you know, of the whole story.
Right.
I don't.
Interesting. There's just so much to know, isn't there? And there's so many things we probably haven't questioned, but we should. And I feel like that's my whole journey in this show is all of the things I'm not thinking about, and I should be. It's tough. It's hard to kind of wrap your brain around so many lies, and the lies about capitalism and are extraordinary. I mean, my gosh. Everybody uses it, but they all want to complain about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really is frustrating. And the most frustrating part is no matter what, it seems like some of these people, you just can't get through to them at all.
Yeah.
They just don't have a clue on how to think rationally or logically or reasonably. And there's no sense in even talking to them.
Trump actually did an interview with Elon, and they say that they had a lot of problems with kind of taking the interview down. And so there was a lot of blame swirling around. And of course, the leftist media rags went solely to he has a lisp, something's wrong, it's AI, it's not him. I want you to take a listen. You decide for yourself. Here we go. Here's Elon and Trump last night in their interview. Here we go.
Used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat. But you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And,
I think it's definitely him. And I can sense a little bit of that, but I think it's just a denture issue.
Yeah, it might be denture. It might be, because I'll tell you, my first thought as I listened to this is that it was a manipulated sound. Like whoever was hacking to begin with,
it could have been,
actually hacked the sound system so that they could use an equalizer to make them sound that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I think it was.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds plausible that somebody would try to do that so that the headline wouldn't be what they talked about, but would be more or less his delivery, right? So, I mean, I get that. Sure. People are extremely manipulative with these things, so of course, if you listen to that interview, call us up. What did you think? I know they talked about solar cars, AI, all kinds of fossil fuels. Let us know. 888-673-1450.
But it looks like it was set up for the headline in the Mirror.
Yes.
Donald Trump slurs words and speaks with lisp.
Yeah. Are you just so? Are you so tired of the pounding of the media? It's actually been light this year, considering the whole last few months. So far, but it's wearing, isn't it?
Yeah,
because it's just the giant eye roll. I mean, you can't get real news. I mean, the only news I read certain sites, but every day. But I love the New American. They always do a really good job. There's certain sites where I actually like the reporting because I'm not doing eye rolls over the inflammatory headlines. It's just insane what we're having to deal with right now in this way, in non-news news.
Yeah, and when you take that part of it and then add in all the fake news about Kamala, I mean, you would think that Kamala is the return of Christ.
I know.
The way they talk about her. She's changed. Everything's different. She's come to realize that communism sucks.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's how they're trying to make her sound.
I know. And
she's going to be the real Donald Trump.
It's excruciating.
Yeah.
I just listened to a roll where she was like, you got to be woker, the wokest. I mean, you just can't believe that we have to listen to this, but it's the Dog King. It truly is. Credit to Michael Young. It's the Dog King. We're given a dog, and it's humiliating to think that this is what they've offered up. Whew. Okay, so lots of things to talk about. I wanted to talk about the apps, the WhatsApp app, the Facebook Messenger, Signal. So I'm not one to jump on these things. I don't. I feel like if they want your contacts and they're telling you it's encrypted, why do they still have to have your contacts? Why can't you join an app without exposing who all your friends are? I'm just asking, because I don't believe that it's encrypted like that.
Actually, you can kind of do that yourself a little bit by not having contacts. You know?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
I only have about 45 contacts, and most of it is family and employees.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what they want. Okay.
Well, they can have all 45 of them.
So they want but that's what I'm saying. They're your closest, and that's what they want. And so you're granting them permission to do that. Information is going to go a lot of places about your family and friends, and you can't undo that. So if an app goes in to talk about or ask you for your contacts, you should be asking why they want them. If it's encrypted, if they say it's totally private, why do they want your contacts anyway? Why can't you join an app where somebody can say, this is my number, but this is me? Why do you have to have that? So it makes zero sense to me. The same guy, Matthew Rosenfield, he goes by a different name, Moxie. He's the one that did Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp Messenger, and Signal Messenger. So then they try to say, well, Signal's more private. I don't believe that. I think it's all done by the same guy that did the same encrypting. I don't believe Facebook Messenger is private.
The thing for me is when it comes to messaging apps, I get very concerned because people really don't know much about me being on national radio.
Right. Well, I mean, to me, is it a betrayal to your family and friends every single time you get an app, every single time you're leveraging out data for them? There's a reason why they want the info. If I want to get a hold of somebody, why can't I have a conversation? I was watching a show about the CIA, and this was funny because the only spot they said that you can go to get a completely unmonitored conversation is out in a rowboat out in the water. Other than that, you can't go anywhere where something isn't captured by something, monitored by something. I thought that was kind of interesting. Out in a rowboat, right? No electron, no motor, no nothing. Out in a rowboat talking to somebody face to face with no electronics.
So my wife has a friend who actually was a friend of her mother's. She's a 98-year-old woman, and they still write back and forth. And her birthday's coming up, and my wife said, I think I'm going to send her some Sherry's Berries.
Yeah.
Okay? My wife has never used Sherry's Berries. She never knew what it really was. And then 2 minutes later, she gets an ad from Sherry's Berries.
I know. It's happening all the time. Be right back. Kate Daly Show. We'll take your calls. KateDalyRadio.com.
Thanks for listening to The Kate Daly Show. All opinions expressed by the program participants on The Kate Daly Show are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Patriot Radio. KM